The pick is in.
And the Columbus Blue Jackets have made another selection in the 2025 NHL Draft. I'm Gil Martin, joined now by Jacob Foster of Locked On Blue Jackets. And Columbus has taken Pyotr Andreyanov with the 20th pick overall. They go with a goaltender. Are you surprised they went goalie this soon?
I am not surprised that they went goalie this soon. I am surprised that this was the goalie they went with. Because all of the talk before the draft was about Joshua Ravensbergen, who was the number one ranked goalie. People were like, yeah, he's gonna go in the first round. He's gonna be the first goalie to go in the first round since Yaroslav Askarov in 2021 or whatever. Oh, excuse me, it's Sebastian Kosa and Jesper Falstad in 2021, I believe it was. So yeah, this was a bit of a shock, bit of a surprise. I kind of expected goalie, did not expect Andreyanov.
What do you think it was about Andreyanov that attracted the Blue Jackets to him?
Do you know what? I'm not 100% sure. Like he is a goalie with a lot of potential. Here's the thing. The way that I always look at goalie prospects, and we've probably talked about this before, is do they stop pucks, right? Because that's the number one thing. And if they stop pucks, like all the way through, like Ryan Miller, for example, stopped pucks all the way through. Didn't matter that they took him out of high school hockey in wherever he was from, New York, I think. They just pulled him out of high school hockey and put him and drafted him because he stopped pucks all the way through. Andreyanov stops pucks. His stats are a little bit, I'm not going to say misleading, but I feel like the Russian leagues do tend to be very generous towards their goalie stats.
Yes.
But he was 23-6-6 this season. Had a 942 save percentage, and then in the playoffs, he had a 929 save percentage over 6 games. Now, this was all in the MHL, which, for those who don't know, that's basically the Russian Junior League over there. So he hasn't yet played pro hockey or men's hockey, really, which is, I think, a concern for him or for his projection. I think a lot of people with a Russian goalie, you want to see them get some time in the pros, whether that be the VHL, which is like their AHL, like their farm team, or in fact the KHL. Now, it's very rare for 18-year-olds to play in the KHL, so I'm not surprised at that. I am surprised he didn't get a cup of coffee in the VHL. Sounds like he's going to be competing for that next year. Columbus loves its Russian goalies. They have a long history of drafting Russian goalies. I wouldn't be surprised if this is someone that caught their eye while they were scouting some of the Russian players that they already have out there. They drafted a Russian goalie a couple of years ago, Sergei Ivanov. So I wonder if he was just a guy that caught their eye and they were like, yeah, no, we like this guy. But I am very, very surprised that they went Andreyanov and not Ravensbergen.
He does seem to have a very quick lower body. That seems to be something that scouts appreciate about him. Do you think there'll be any difficulty in getting him over here from Russia?
No more so than the typical, Russian goalies typically don't come over until 22, 23.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as too many goalies. I don't think you can you can very easily rush a goalie. So I'm never mad about them taking quote unquote too much time with a goalie. I am not expecting to see Andreyanov for at least 4, maybe 5 years. This is a project, which I guess is why I'm surprised that they took him in the first round. But the Blue Jackets don't pick again until the 4th round now, unless some trade happens between now and the second round starting. But I'm not worried any more so than the average person worries about Russian players coming over, which I think is kind of, I'm not going to say overblown necessarily, but I don't think people probably worry about Russian players a little bit more than they probably need to.
What do you think he needs to work on the most to get NHL ready?
So he's a very good reactive goalie. So I typically separate goalies out into two halves. You got shot stoppers, and then you've got reactive goalies. Now, reactive goalies are, I always kind of liken them to a cat with a laser pointer. Jonathan Quick is my prime example for that, right? Extremely good goalie. Did just kind of throw himself all over the ice like he was trying to fight the puck. Andreyanov has a little bit of that. He's not quite as like aggressive with it as Quick. I think it's something that, I do think it's something that a lot of young goalies do struggle with, this need to almost overreact to seeing the puck or saving the puck. So it's something that he'll grow out of, I think. But I would like that to me is the thing that he's got to work on is you don't have to be so aggressive every time you save the puck. Sometimes you can just let it hit you. You don't have to. It doesn't have to look amazing every time. Sometimes you've just got to stop the puck, right? So that I think is the biggest thing. Like he is a perfectly fine young goalie that again, it's just kind of reps, kind of like what I talked about with Smith, who we drafted 14th overall. It's just do it over and over and over and over again, and you'll get better at it. And I think that once he gets better, once he matures a little bit, probably once he plays in a higher league, he'll figure out that he can't throw himself around all the time because that does just kind of put you out of position. So that's the big thing for me.
Makes sense, and we'll see how he develops. For continued coverage of Pyotr Andreyanov, check out Locked On Blue Jackets on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.